ഓം ഗം ഗണപതയേ നമഃ. ഓം ഗും ഗുരുഭ്യോ നമഃ. ഓം സം സരസ്വത്യേ നമഃ. സദാശിവസമാരംഭാം ശങ്കരാചാര്യമധ്യമാം അസ്മദാചാര്യപര്യന്താം വന്ദേ ഗുരുപരമ്പരാം. ശ്രുതിസ്മൃതിപുരാണാനാമാലയം കരുണാലയം നമാമി ഭഗവത്പാദശങ്കരം ലോകശങ്കരം. ശങ്കരം ശങ്കരാചാര്യം കേശവം ബാദരായണം സൂത്രഭാഷ്യകൃതൗ വന്ദേ ഭഗവന്തൗ പുനഃ പുനഃ. സമസ്തജനകല്യാണേ നിരതം കരുണാമയം നമാമി ചിന്മയം ദേവം സദ്ഗുരും ബ്രഹ്മവിദ്വരം. ഓം സഹനാവവതു സഹനൗ ഭുനക്തു സഹ വീര്യം കരവാവഹൈ തേജസ്വിനാവധീതമസ്തു മാ വിദ്വിഷാവഹൈ. ഓം ശാന്തി ശാന്തി ശാന്തി. ഹരി ഓം. So we listen to the first two verses of Sadhana Panchakam. I know that many of you have already by hearted the first two verses. We'll chant together, both verses chant together. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karma swanushtiyatam teneshasya vidhiyatamapachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papogha paridhuyatam bhavasughe dosho nusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat turnam vinirgamyatam sangasatsu vidhiyatam bhado bhaktir dridhadhiyatam Shandyadih parichiyatam dridhataram karmashu santyajyatam upasrapyatam pratidinam tat paduke sevyatam brahmaikaksharamardhyatam Shruti shiro vakyam samakarnyatam. 16 instructions are given to us. Now we enter into the third verse of Sadhana Panchakam. I will chant, please repeat. Vakyarthascha Vichayyatam Shruti shiraf paksha Samashriyatam Dustarkad Suviramyatam Shrutimata Tarko Anusandhiyatam Brahmasmiti Vibhavyatam Aharaha Garva Parityajyatam Dehe Ahammati Ujhyatam Buddhajanaihi Vadaha Parityajyatam Vakyarthascha vicharyatam Shruti shiraf pakshas samashriyatam Dustarkat suviramyatam Shrudimadastarko nusandhiyatam Brahmasmiti vibhavyatam Aharahar garvav parityajyatam Dehe aham matirujyatam Buddhajaneirvadav parityajyatam. Chant together. Vakyarthascha vicharyatam Shruti shirav pakshas samashriyatam Dustarkat suviramyatam Shrudimadastarko nusandhiyatam Brahmasmiti vibhavyatam Aharahar garvav parityajyatam Dehe aham matirujyatam Buddhajane vadav parityajyatam. There are 6 Vedanga. Vedanga means those branches of science which help us to understand and utilize the Veda in the proper way. So Vyakarana, grammar is also a Vedanga. Another Vedanga is known as Shiksha. What is it? Shiksha. What is Shiksha? In many of languages, Shiksha means punishment. At least in Malayalam and Tamil, Shiksha means punishment. But that is not the Vedanga. Shiksha means the science of pronunciation. How to pronounce the alphabets in Sanskrit. What are the laws of pronunciation? That is known as Shiksha. So there are many rules. One rule is Kupuoho Hka Paucha. It's a sutra. Kupuoho Hka Paucha. What it means? Means if Visarga comes in front of Pavarga, Pa, that Visarga should be pronounced Pragardha Visarga Sadrisha Upadmaniya. Half. So if Visarga is in front of Pa, that Visarga should be pronounced that Pa. Pa is Pa. Instead of that, there will be Pragardha, only half of. So it is Pa. It's known as Upadmaniya. Okay? And if the Visarga is in front of Ka or Ka, then that Visarga should be pronounced as Ka. Should come from the Juhwa Muliya, from the end of our Juhwa. Okay? So this is there in Vyakarana also, this is there in this Shiksha also. In Vyakarana it is optional, Shiksha is a must. Means whenever we are chanting anything, if Visarga comes in front of Pa, we should chant as Pa. If Visarga comes in front of Ka, Ka. Okay? So there is a very famous sloka. When we are in 5th standard or when we are small children, they teach us a shloka. Kakaha Krishnaha Pikaha Krishnaha Ko Bhedo Pika Kakayo. Vasandakale samprapte kakaha kakaha pikaha pikaha. The crow is also black and the cuckoo bird is also black. What is the difference between them? Everything is same. No. Vasandakale samprapte. When the springtime comes, kaka will be kaka. And the cuckoo will be coo, so melodious. Such beautiful voice, song comes out of it. So this is just this is taught to us to teach us this pronunciation. Kakah Krishna, Pikah Krishna. See, in front of ka and pa, visarga comes. So if the visarga comes in front of ka, ka. Kakah Krishna, Pikah Krishna. Ko bhedo pika kakayo vasandakale samprapte kakah pika. To teach us that right pronunciation is this sloka, okay? So like that, here also you see, in front of Shruti Shira Pakshaha, there is a visarga. See? Shruti Shira Pakshaha. So the correct pronunciation there is Shruti Shiraf Paksha. Shruti Shiraf, half F. Shruti Shiraf Paksha. Then comes again a visarga before sa. That visarga will change into s. Become Shruti Shiraf Paksha Samasriyatam. Like that, again comes again. Brahmasmiti vibhavyatam aharahar garvaf parityajyatam deheham atirujyatam budhajaneirvadaf parityajyatam. So whenever visarga comes in front of pa, that visarga should be pronounced as okay. If it comes somewhere, it comes before ka. Okay. We'll chant once more with the correct pronunciation. Okay. Vakyarthascha vicharyatam shruti shiraf pakshasama shriyatam dustarkat suviramyatam shrudimadastarko nusandhiyatam brahmasmiti vibhavyatam aharahar garvaf parityajyatam deheham atirujyatam budhajane vadaf parityajyatam. So we, in the last verse, the last instruction was Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakarnyatam, indicating Shravana. Now comes to the verse. This verse is dealing with the other two Vedanta Abhyasas. What are the three practices of Vedanta? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana is already spoken. Now about Mananam and Nididhyasana. Okay. What do you mean by this Manana? What do you mean by Manana? Reflection. Contemplation, reflection. So that is there's only another word, you see. So when we ask, this is how we are trained. In school or anywhere, the teacher asks us one word, we translate it into another language. Answer is complete. What is manana? Reflection. Okay, very happy. But what is manana? What do you mean by mananam? See, the Vedanta Shastra is very much based on these three principles. These are the core principles or core practices of Vedanta. All other practice, bhakti, we should have shamadama, titiksha, uparati, everything. All they are needed. They are all forms the base, That forms the basement. That forms the foundation. But what are the true practices of Vedanta? First one is Shravana, that we have already listened. What is the result of Shravana? With Shravana, Abhavana Nashaha. Because we don't even heard about something like this. About Atma, about Brahman, about the oneness. We have not heard. Only Vedanta will teach us. So, this is Abhavana. Abhavana means ignorance. Through right listening, our ignorance will be destroyed. Abhavana Nashaha. We understand, we gather informations through the right listening. That is not enough. We should do manana. Why? Through manana. So first one is abhavana. Second is asambhavana nashaha. Why should we do the contemplation? Because through contemplation alone, asambhavana. Asambhavana means we have a feeling that this is not possible. Although we hear, although we study Vedanta for so many years, deep within us, we feel that this is not possible. I shall never become or, realize that Brahman, or I am not that Brahman. To speak, to understand, to give lectures, everything is okay. But deep within, do you really believe that I am that Supreme Consciousness? There is a doubt. There was always a doubt. So, manana is needed so that this asambhavana, the doubts will be clarified. So, manana is very, very, very important. Okay? So, through manana alone, we can remove the doubts. In Sanskrit, in the Shastra Bhasha, it is known as asambhavana. First one is abhavana. Second is asambhavana. Asambhavya. In our language, asambhavya means ho nahi sakta. It's not possible. It will. So asambhavana nasha. That doubt, that it is not possible to realize my true nature, that can be removed through right contemplation, manana. So, what do you mean by manana? In the Shastra, what is the definition of manana? What do you mean by manana? Manana means, comes from the root, of course, mana. Mana means to think, to contemplate. The definition for manana, see, I know that I'm giving lots of definitions, etc. As I was telling, please don't get, worried. Oh, so much of Sanskrit, I'm not able to understand. Please don't worry. All these concepts, or one whole year, we are going to listen to them again and again. So don't worry. Even if you don't get it, it's okay. But they are, I think, they are sharing all these Sanskrit words with all of you, So slowly, just take it, keep it with you. And whenever you get some time, go through it, and slowly we'll understand. Don't get worried, okay? And my nature is like this. This is how I study it. So this is how I think. So that's the only way I can express. That's why I'm telling all these Sanskrit words, not to confuse you or to, delude you or anything. Just to, that's the way, that is the Shastric way. That is the way of Vedanta, how they think. It's not that just some words are floating here and there. Whenever we are thinking about anything, it should be very clear. Okay, this is it. Then our process of thinking becomes better. Okay, so what is manana? What is the definition for manana? Says, manana means shruta arthasya pramana upanyasa-rupa yuktibhihi yukta ayuktatva paryalochanam artha samarthanam cha. What? If you cannot write, don't write. They will share with you, no problem. Just listen. What is this manana? What do you mean by manana? What do you mean by contemplation? Says, Shruta Arthasya Pramana Upanyasa Rupa Yuktibihi Yukta Ayuktatva Paryalochanam Samarthanam Cha. What do you mean by manana in Vedanta? Manana is contemplation, means what? Contemplation of what? Says Shrutarthasya. The contemplation of the statements of Shruti. What was the last instruction? Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakarnyatam. We should listen very carefully the statements of Vedanta. That's what the last instruction. Now we should do mananam. Not only listening, not only writing. We should do the contemplation of what? Shrutarthasya. That statements of the Veda. We should contemplate on the Upanishadic statements. Shrutartham. The meaning or the implied. So the meaning of these statements of Vedas or the Upanishad should be contemplated. How? Shrutarthasya. That's the meaning of Shrutartham. Shruta Artham. The meaning of the Shruti. The meaning of the Upanishadic statements. That should be contemplated. How? Pramana Upanyasarupa Yuktibihi. A logical thinking. Logical yukti. With logical procedure. How this logic should be applied? Pramana Upanyasarupa. With proper evidence. With the proper means of knowledge. Pramana. We'll be hearing this word again and again and again. What is the meaning of pramana? Pramana. Authority. Means of knowledge. Proof. Pramana. What is the word? How this word is coming? Pramayaha karanam. Pramayaha. Pramaya visarga. When I say ha, please understand that many places is that ha is only visarga. Okay? Pramaya karanam. Means that which help us to develop prama. Now, what is this prama? Nice name, Note down. Your granddaughter can be given the name. Prama. Prama. Nice name, no? Prama. What is prama? Prama nama yadhartha jnana. Comes from the dhatu me. Me, to measure. Me, there is a dhatu in Sanskrit, to measure. To measure something. So, prama is that the ability of our intellect to measure, to calculate, to think logically. So, what is prama? Prama nama yadartha jnanam. The right, true knowledge. The correct knowledge. Correct information is known as prama. That which help us to gain prama is known as pramana. See how the Sanskrit is? Pra-ma, pra-ma, pra-manam, pramana, pramano nama. That tools by which we will be able to come to the right conclusion, to the right understanding. So, pramana. So, what is manana? Pramanam. It's not that just, whatever we feel, we say and then we... No, pramana. There should be proper proof. With the correct proof, pramana, upanyasa rupa. Not only just proper proof is there, but correct, the right explanation. Pramana, with the right, the correct pramana, means of knowledge, and with the correct expressions, yukti bihi, the logical statements. Those logical statements which are based on proof and correct documentation. The proof and correct expression. Sometimes proofs are there, but then conclusion comes something else. No. According to the pramana, upanyasa should be there. The expression, the documentation, the representation of the truth should be based on pramana. That's why I say, pramana upanyasa rupa yukti bihi, with logical thinking, which is based on correct means of knowledge and correct expressions. Yukti bihi, yukta ayukta paryalochanam. Take up Vedantic statements and then with right means of knowledge and correct documentation or expression, think whether this is correct or not. Yukta ayukta paryalochanam. Deep thinking about the correctness of those statements. Which statements? Vedic statements. Yukta ayukta paryalochanam. Not only that, we use yukta paryalochana and then prove that Vedantic statements are wrong. No. Shruti vakyartha samarthanam cha. That paryalochanam should not result in negating the Vedantic statements, but to assert the meanings of Shruti Vakya. Shruti Vakyartha, Shruti Vakya Artha Samarthanam. So what is manana? Manana means a logical thinking based on proofs and statements and coming to the right conclusion based on deep thinking and analysis. With right thinking and analysis, we come to the correct conclusion of the deeper meanings of Vedantic statements. That is known as manana in Vedanta. The same tool is used by different shastra. Sankhya's also used, Nayayikas also used. But for us, manana is a very, very, very important tool. Why? In Vedanta, there are three process or three means of knowledge. The Vedanta Shastra, there are trayaha pramana. Three pramanas are there. Pramana means means of knowledge. What are those three pramana? One is known as Shruti. Second is known as Yukti. Third is known as Anubhuti. What are the three pramanas of Vedanta? Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Shruti means Vedantic statements. Shruti. Yukti, logical thinking. Third is Anubhuti. Anubhuti is the experience. Vedanta is not a logical, a fantasy, a world of fantasy that with our logic we construct some kind of a world. No. This should go with Anubhava. Anubhava of who? Of the masters. Not our Anubhava. My Anubhava is very different, so Vedanta is not correct. No. The Anubhuti of the realized masters. So Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava, these are the three means of knowledge in Vedanta. But the Parama Pramana, the the base, the most important pramana is Shruti. Veda eva pramanaha. For Vedanta, Veda eva pramanaha. Upanishad alone is pramana. So when we thought about Mimamsa, that time also I explained, there is Pujaniya Chindanam. Of what? Of Veda, of Upanishads. Yukti and Anubhava should go hand in hand with Shruti, not the other way. Veda, Shruti, Vedanta, Upanishad is the Parama Pramana, and the logic should follow the Upanishadic statement, and the Anubhava should be in hand with Shruti. So everything is based on the Vedantic understanding and wisdom. So, Shruti, Yukti and Anubhuti. These are the three pramana. Now comes the statement or the advice of Acharya. Vakyarthascha vichayyatam. Vakyarthaha cha vicharyada. There are three words here. Vakyarthaha cha. Because of the sandhi, you come vakyarthascha. That visarga is changing it to sha. Vichayyatam. Why cha is there? To connect. Cha is like and in English. Ramaha, Krishnaha, cha. Rama and Krishna. So cha is something which connects. Why here cha is used? Because it's a continuation from the last instruction. What was the last instruction? Shruti shiro vakyam samakarnyatam cha. Not only just listen, but vichayyatam cha. Vedanta is known. The Vedantic experiences are gained not just by hearting or hearing the Vedantic statements. Vichayyatam. We have to reflect upon. We have to inquire into these statements. That's why cha is said. Cha is the connection between this statement and the last statement. Vakyartaha cha vicharyata. So we should reflect upon what? Vakyartaha. Not only we listen to Sudhishiro Vakya, but we have to reflect upon the meaning. Vakyasya arthaha vakyartaha. The meaning of the statements. Which statements? Jiva Brahmaikya Pratipadakaha. We studied in the last, what statements we are talking about? Upanishadic statements. In Upanishads, there are so many things. When we learn the Upanishad, we'll see there are kadhas are there, stories are there, dharmopadesha is there. Some kind of upasanas are said. They all can be contemplated, but that is not the main part. What is the main part of Upanishad? Jiva Brahma Aikya Pratipadana. What is the main fundamental purpose of Upanishad? It's not to teach us like dharma. Of course, there are dharma, but there is another shastra, dharma shastra is there. The stories are there, but stories are there in Jataka Kada also and then Panchatantra also. What is the sole purpose of Upanishad is to show us the Jiva Brahma Aikya, oneness of Jiva and Brahma. So when we say Vakyarthaha means what? Not about other stories, etc. About those statements which are revealing the oneness between Jiva and Brahma. Jiva Brahma Aikya Parayana Vadaha. All those statements, Vakyas, which are focusing on the oneness of Jiva and Brahma. So when we study the Upanishad, we'll see that most of the Upanishad, there are such statements which shows the oneness between the Jiva and the Brahman. When we studied the Kadho Upanishad, there is one Vakya known as Edadvai Tat. Edadvai Tat. This alone is that. Now when we study Kaivalya Upanishad, in Kaivalya Upanishad also there is a statement known as Tattvameva Tat. Tat Tvameva. Tvameva Tat. You alone is that alone is you. Like that, most of the Upanishad will have such statements. But there are 4 Mahavakyaha. So when we say Vakyarthascha Vichayata means what? We should contemplate upon Vakya, Mahavakya Artha. What do you mean by Mahavakya Artha? Any statement that which points out the Jiva Brahma Aikya. Okay, Vichayyatam, inquire into, reflect upon this. There are 2 kinds of meanings. One is known as implied meaning, and one is that is direct meaning. So Vichayyatam means what? Understand what is the direct meaning and what is the implied meaning. That is known as Vicharanam. To ponder over, to think, to reflect. If something is, see, idam pushpam. I'm telling you, idam pushpam. This is a flower. Now what are you going to think about this? That's all. Whatever I said, direct meaning. There is no other implied meaning, etc. But in Upanishadic statements, especially this Vedanta, this Jiva Brahmaikya Pratipadaka Vachakaha, something which is heard, but then we have to think deeply to understand the actual meaning. That's why 2 kinds of meaning. One is direct meaning, another is known as implied meaning. So here Vichayata means what? Try to find out the implied meaning. That's the meaning of Vichara. Otherwise, idam pushpam, there is no need of any Vichara. This is a flower, this is a flower, because this is a direct meaning. So now in Upanishad statement, sometimes there are direct meanings, sometimes implied meanings. That's why Vichayyatam. We should reflect upon. That's the, okay, Vichayyatam. Says, what is Vichayyatam means? Paunaf punyena shruti yukti bihi artha nirupanam kudyad. Vichayyatam means vishishtena, again and again, not once. No, sometimes when we are in the class, when we are in such a sattvic mood, sometimes we feel that, we understood. But after the coffee is over, what said in the class? Everything is gone. So, pauna punyena, again and again and again. Not once. Pauna punyena, again and again and again, shruti yukti bhihi. With the Vedantic statements and the logic which follows the Shruti, Artha Nirupanam Kudyat. Try to understand what is the implied meaning of those Upanishadic statements. That is known as Vichayyatam. So, what do you mean by Vicharanam? Vicharana, when you say Vichayyatam, Artha Nirupana, there are 5 things we should do. Whenever we are doing any mananam, there are Panjangaha. There are 5 parts to manana. Vicharanam, proper thinking. The first one is collection of data. If you really want to ponder over, to reflect upon, to go deep into these Vedantic statements, first we should have correct data. No, so we should learn Shastras in such a way that, when we are thinking, there should be supporting statements so that it will help us to think properly. So collection of data, collection of supporting statements, that is the first step. That's not enough. Oh, we have a big book written everything. That's not enough. Then we need to have classification. We should classify this. Whatever we are listening every day, we are listening so many things. So we write down them also, but at the time when we need it, we will not be able to find where it is. So we have to classify them. Proper classification. We classified, everything is put into different files. That's enough? No. We have to compare them. Different statements are there. How these statements are, in union, how they differ, where are they, joined together, what are the meanings where they connect, where they are different. So this is known as comparison. You have to compare these statements, data. Not only compare, we have to analyze it. We should be able to analyze the data. So, collection, classification, comparison, analysis. That is, so not only analysis, we have analyzed. Okay, now tell me, what? Conclusion. Without a conclusion, what is the meaning of analysis and comparison and collection, etc.? So, the most important thing is we come to a correct conclusion, right conclusion. So, this is known as vicharanam. This is known as the proper thinking. Collection, classification, comparison, analysis, and conclusion. See how Mahatmas and our Nayayikas. Okay, of what? Say here, okay, vicharana, you are talking about too much. Now tell me, vichara of what? Vichara of vakyartha. The direct and implied meaning of the vakya. Which vakya? Mahavakya. As I was telling, we will study these Mahavakyas in detail. Okay? There's a Panchadashi, in Panchadashi, the 5th chapter is only dedicated for the Mahavakyartha Chindanam. So, what are these Mahavakya? As I was telling, in most of the Upanishads, Mahavakyas are there. But for our, thinking, our rishis, our acharyas have selected 4 of them. Please understand that there are many Mahavakyas, but 4 are selected from 4 Vedas for our contemplation, correct contemplation. Which are they? The first one is known as Nirvachana Vakya or Nirdesha Vakya. Nirvachana Vakya or Nirdesha Vakya means the definition of the truth. What is the definition of the truth? That is known as Nirdesha Vakya or Nirvachana Vakya. This comes from Rigveda. Rigveda's Upanishad is known as Aitareya Upanishad. Rigveda's Upanishad, there are many Upanishads, but among them, in the Dashopanishad, there's only one Upanishad from Rigveda, that is Aitareyam. So this first Mahavakya, which is a Nirdesha Vakya, comes from Aitareya Upanishad. What is that? That is Prajnanam Brahma. What is the Vakya? Prajnanam Brahma. What is this Brahman you are talking about? Brahma is Prajnanam. prajnanam. No, that prajnana is Brahman. Brahma is nothing other than pure consciousness. Pure consciousness, the absolute consciousness is Brahman. That is the nirvachana vakya. That is the definition, or that is the nirdesha of Upanishad about Brahman. Nirvachana vakya, nirdesha vakya definition. What is that? Prajnanam Brahma. Comes from Rigveda's Upanishad, Aitareya. Okay. Next is known as Upadesha Vakya. Guru is giving us Upadesha, the advice, Brahmopadesha, the advice, the supreme advice from the Guru. This Upadesha Vakya comes from Samaveda. Samaveda's Upanishad known as Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad, 6th chapter. That is a very important chapter. If Bhagavan wishes, we will learn that. Very important an adhyaya. There, Uddalakaha, and there's a samvada between the father and the son. There comes the Upadesha Vakya. What is that? Tattvamasi Shvetaketo Tattvamasi. Tat Tvamasi. Hey Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu is the son. Uddalaka was the father and Shvetaketu was the son. So their samvada, their dialogue, in that Uddalaka is telling Shvetaketu. What is that? Tat Tvamasi. Tat Tvamasi. Thou art that. You are that. This is known as the Upadesha Vakya. Comes from Chandogya Upanishad. Then comes the third. Third is known as Anubhava Vakya. When the Guru tells us, Tat Tvam Asi, you are that, then the Shishya goes into the contemplation and he realizes. That's why it's known as Anubhava Vakya, the statement of direct experience. What is that? That is Aham Brahma Asmi. The Guru is telling us, Tat Tvamasi, you are that. And Shishya should not say, Aham Jiva Asmi. No. Aham Brahma Asmi. This is the experience. What is the purpose of Vedanta? The purpose of Vedanta is to make us realize this. What? Aham Brahma Asmi. This is the greatest gift. What is that? I am not a jiva. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am that absolute consciousness. That is the purpose. Statement of direct experience. Known as Anubhava Vakya. Anubhava Vakya comes from Yajurveda. Yajurvedas, there are many Upanishads. Among them, the biggest is known as Brihadaranyaka. The Anubhava Vakya comes from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. What is the Anubhava Vakya? Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that supreme consciousness. We are human. Sometimes when we are in that peak, we remember, we understand. But there are all possibilities that we forget. It's very natural for human beings to forget. It's the nature of human being. Because in all of us, tamas is there. Without tamas, we can't exist. Nidra alasya pramada. These three are nature of tamas, and there are all possibilities that we may, even after understanding this is the truth, we may forget. So in order to establish this experience ever with us, we should do anusandhana vakya. What is anusandhana? Means constant reflection. Not only we hear the definition, not only the Guru gives us the Upadesha, we even understand that Aham Brahmasmi. That's not enough. We should have anusandhanam. Constant remembrance, constant reflection is needed. The vachaka, the statement which help us to do this constant reflection is known as anusandhana vakya. Anusandhana vakya comes from Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda's Mundakopanishad. Mandukya Upanishad, sorry. Mandukya Upanishad, not Mundaka. The Atharva Veda's Mandukya Upanishad gives us the Anusandhana Vakya. What is that? Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atma alone is Brahman. We always feel I, aham. This I am, this Atma, which I have always, I know that I am there. This I am, this aham, this I am Atma, this consciousness of mine is actually Brahman. This is known as I am Atma Brahma. This is known as Anusandhana Vakya, the statement of constant reflection. Comes from Atharva Veda's Mundakopanishad. Mandukya Upanishad. What is it? Atharva Veda's Mandukya Upanishad gives us this Anusandhana Vakya. So what is Bhagavan is asking us to do? Vakyarthascha vichayyatam. We have to take up these Vakyas. About Prajnanam Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayamatma Brahma. Such Vakyas which are showing us the oneness of Jiva and Brahma. Such verses, such statements from the Upanishad should be contemplated again and again and again, and then go into the deep reflection which will help us to enter in, to remove all kinds of asambhavana, all kinds of doubts should be removed by correct contemplation of these Vedantic statements, which shows the Jiva Brahma Aikya. So we are entering into the field of manana. Shravana have done, now comes the manana. In the verse number 3, there are 4 statements which are pointing out Vedantic manana. Which are they? Vakyarthascha vichayyatam. Second, Srutishira pakshas samashriyatam. Third, Dustarkat suviramyatam. Fourth, Shrutimatas tarkaha anusandhiyatam. These 4 Upadeshas are all pointing out towards the mananam, deep contemplation. So we saw that what is Vakyarthascha vichayyatam. Cha, according to what we have heard from our Guru. Okay, we have heard Shravana happened. Based on the Shravana, based on the statements which are revealed by the Guru, the Upanishadic statements, which are revealed by the Guru, which are pointing out the Jiva Brahmaikya, vichayyatam, contemplate, reflect upon that statements. Why should we reflect upon? Because those statements, they have different layers of meaning. There's a direct meaning, there's an indirect meaning, there is a implied meaning. The meaning can be of different types. Acha, how can it be? This flower is white. This flower is white. Okay. What is the meaning there? Direct meaning. There's nothing no more to say. One day, we came to home. Mother prepared, dinner, everything. But, as children, we always like to have all kinds of, food, especially in India, etc. There will be so many, as when we are young, so many things will be there on the street food. So we said, I don't want breakfast or dinner. Why? I had, nice vada pav. The mother says, Vishambhunja. Mother tells, okay, you eat poison. Is that a direct meaning that, we should go and eat poison? Not that. That is not the meaning. Means don't do it. So there is a direct meaning, there is an indirect meaning. What is said? Vishambhunja. What it means, don't do this. That is the meaning. It's the indirect meaning. And there is an implied meaning. So the meaning comes from different layers and levels. So that's why what we should do, we should think deeply, but this thinking, this manana should be proper. Says, Shruti Shira Pakshaha Samashriyata. Vichara has to be done. You should do the vichara. You should reflect upon based on Shruti Shira Pakshaha. No independent thinking. Shruti Shira Pakshaha Samasriyatam. We have to think, we have to reflect, we have to use logic. But that logic should be in tune with Upanishadic statements. Shruti Shira Pakshaha Samasriyatam. Adhere to the Upanishadic thinking. See, samasriyatam, samyak asriyatam. You have to adhere what? Shruti Shira Pakshaha. You have to think. But that should be in tune with. No, it should be in position with the Upanishadic statement. In the view of the Upanishadic wisdom. Not whatever we want to think. Why? Because this logic is kind of a sword. Both sides of this sword is sharp. It can kill others also. It can kill myself also. It can help us, protect us also. It can harm us also. Because yukti, logic is kind of it's a tool. No tool is either good or bad. Atomic energy, is it good or bad? Depends. Depends upon for what you are using. So like that, Shruti, this Vada, the logic is also, yukti is also like that. So should be very careful when we are using this. No, we should use this yukti. We should use the thinking in order to ascertain the Vedantic understanding, not to invalidate them. With the yukti, we can prove that Upanishad is correct or disprove that Upanishad is correct. Disprove that the Upanishadic statements. We can, because yukti is something which can use for in any way. So Acharya is warning us, see, when you are thinking, when you are entering into the logical thinking, please use the logic in accordance with Shruti. Shruti Shira Pakshaha. Why? Why should we do that? Because sometimes we feel that our experience and the Vedic statements are opposite to each other. What Upanishad is telling? Aham Brahmasmi. Actually speaking, any of us actually feel that I am Brahman? No. We feel that we are Jiva. More than that, we feel that we are Sharira. Actually speaking. Intellectually, whatever we may say, but a little cold. We are depressed. Why? When we speak, I say, Aham Brahmasmi, etc. But then little cold is there, little toothache, oh God, everything. No, little headache. Why? Deep within, all of us feel that I am body. Not even Jiva. So, but what Vedanta is telling? Aham Brahmasmi is that what Vedanta is telling. Our experience is, I am body only. Aham Sharirahasmi. That's what our... So, actually when we think, there's a gap. As though there's a contradiction between our experience and Vedantic wisdom. So, that's why Acharya is warning us, Shruti Shira Pakshaha Samashriyadam. Please don't go after your experiential wisdom. Now, okay, what is their experience of at this time? Why? Because in different things are pramana. What? See, I want to know whether this flower is fragrant. What is the pramana? What is the means of knowledge to know the fragrance? Nose. Just by seeing, I will not know. Let me hear whether it is fragrant. Let me touch and know whether it is fragrant. Not possible. Okay. To know the fragrance, nose is pramana. Is it okay? Yes. Now, many times what you said was, it is my experience that I am this body. Acha? Yes. When you touch me, I say, you touched me. I have so much of feeling that I am the body. This is my anubhava. And you are telling that you are Brahman. What is this? My anubhava, my direct experience and Vedic statement are two layers, two levels. It's not going, it's contradictory to each other. So, what is the Shruti is wrong? Oh my dear sir, most of our anubhava and truth are different. No. Tell me. Oh, all of us, our entire life actually is based on something which we all experience. What is that? The rising of the sun and the setting of the sun. Isn't it? We say we are so many years old or whatever happens, the routine, everything, think about it. Everything is based on the rising and the setting of the sun, isn't it? So that is our Pratyaksha Anubhava. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That is our Pratyaksha Anubhava. Because this is our pratyaksha anubhava. I don't believe this science. What they say that the sun is never rising or setting, only because of the movement of earth. Because of the movement of the earth, we experience the sunrise and sunset. That's what the science say. But what is our experience? Our experience is sun is not, the sun is rising, which we see. Not only see, all the activities are based on that. Now you tell me, which is correct? Your pratyaksha anubhava is correct, or what Shastra is telling is correct? Which is correct? Oh, there Shastra is okay, here Shastra is not okay. How is it possible? Okay, and all of us, now I heard some talk also. Some people, they think that now also the earth is flat. Why? Because in their text, in their book, it is said that the earth is flat. See, we see also the earth is flat only. We don't see a globe or anything. We feel that we are all static, we are all staying in the same place. That's what our experience. But Shastra says opposite. The science says opposite. So which is correct? Science is correct. If that is correct, then Vedanta is also correct. Yes, now we feel that I am a limited being, I am this Sharira. But the absolute truth is Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that supreme consciousness. That is known as Shrutisira Pakshaha Samashriyadam. Don't take the other kinds of logics. Maybe it is matching with our direct experience, but if you really want to realize the truth, then we have to take up the paksha, the side of Shruti Shiras, Vedanta. Have faith in Vedantic statements and then do the experiment, then we will come to know. First, we should have the faith that the earth is global and then earth is moving. If that faith is there, then we can go to a space shuttle, go out of the earth and then look at the earth. We can see this. But if I don't believe that, whatever they are telling, that's all wrong, I will never attempt even to, for a space travel. Because why space travel? It's not needed. So if we have to have this experience that the earth is like a globe and it is rotating, for that experience we have to come out of the earth and look at the earth. For doing that, we should have faith in science. Like that, Aham Brahmasmi is the statement of the Shastra. Have faith and inquire. And that inquiry will lead us through the experience. So that's why Shrutisira Pakshaha Samashriyata. Yukti is needed. Manana has to be done. But it should be according to Shruti. Why? Because Shruti is the pramana for Atma Vishaya. Atindriya Vishaye Vedaha eva pramanam. Those experiences which cannot be perceived through the senses or mind or intellect, Veda alone is the means of knowledge. So, take the Vedic statement, have faith in the Vedic statement, and aligning our thought with the Vedic statements, if we do the inquiry, we will come to know the truth. The implied meaning will open up. And that will lead us to the experience. That's why manana is very, very important. But that manana should be based on the arguments of Shruti, not our own arguments which are based on our experience. Now, വാക്യാർത്ഥശ്ച വിചാര്യതാം ശ്രുതിശിരപക്ഷസമാശ്രീയതാം ദുസ്തർക്കാത് സുവിരമ്യതാം ശ്രുതിമതസ്തർക്കോനുസന്ധീയതാം ബ്രഹ്മാസ്മീതി വിഭാവ്യതാം അഹരഹർഗർവഃ പരിത്യജ്യതാം ദേഹേ അഹം മതിരുജ്യതാം ബുധജനൈർവാദഃ പരിത്യജ്യതാം. ഓം പൂർണ്ണമദഃ പൂർണ്ണമിദം പൂർണ്ണാത് പൂർണ്ണമുദച്യത്തെ പൂർണ്ണസ്യ പൂർണ്ണമാദായ പൂർണ്ണമേവാവശിഷ്യത്തെ. ഓം ശാന്തി ശാന്തി ശാന്തി. ഹരി ഓം ശ്രീ ഗുരുഭ്യോ നമഃ. ഹരി ഓം.